STEAM Academy is a 4-year government high school that does focus on science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics, which is called STEAM.
Before this, I've been to other high schools and primary schools, and just being here feels so much more different. But my experience with STEAM in a whole, I love it.
It's at STEAM Academy, we are inclusive.
Females in robotics, I think that we could have a lot of success.
This has been the best school life I've ever had. It brings out your creative and innovative side in almost all subjects. In fact, in all subjects.
My experience at STEAM Academy is stunning.
Our students will, I hope, tell you that they are happy to be here, because from the moment they set foot in the campus in the morning to the moment they leave, they're engaged in interesting activities which have real meaning to their lives. And by doing this, the learning is much deeper, more effective and long-lasting.
Fast approaching. Pro FC's back in Orange Walk Town on Saturday, June 15th, inside the Orange Walk Multi-Purpose Complex, exclusively on Channel 53 on Centaur.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. Recently, the reports of domestic sugar shortage have been growing here in the north. The issue is once more raising concern since the manufacturer, BSI ASR, has stated that it has increased the amount of sugar sold on the domestic market compared to the same period last year. But despite the fact that there is more product available domestically, Belizeans are still experiencing a scarcity of the sweetener, which in certain areas is lacking at stores and supermarkets, or in other cases is being limited to consumers. With history repeating itself, the Sugar Industry Control Board began receiving reports of shortage of sugar 3 weeks ago. And according to the chairman of the institution, Marcos Osorio, similar to last year, all fingers are pointing to the illicit activity of contraband.
Not a shortage of the product itself, because presently the mill is already meeting the target of white sugar production for the year, which is somewhere around 12,000 tons. For local consumption, plus 3,000 tons or so of brown sugar earmarked for local production, which adds up in total for 15,000 tons. What is worse now, Cam, is that we are in harvest season, milling season, and we are just just getting into May. And by end of April, we were already getting information or reports that there is no sugar on the shelves at the shops, which tells us that the contraband situation might even be increasing. What we know for sure, Kami, is that this contraband business, our sugar will be under severe pressure or more pressure in terms of the contraband for this year, because Mexico have announced that their sugar production had a further drop in terms of the volumes, which then means that there will be higher demand for our sugar to move into Mexico. And I believe the same will be for sugar moving into Guatemala and even Honduras.
And while BSI has written to the government of Belize asking Cabinet to review and increase the price of domestic sugar since the disparity between domestic prices and regional prices combined with production shortages, particularly in Mexico, is creating a lucrative incentive for sugar to be smuggled outside of Belize. Osorio says the uptick in sugar price should not be considered only because of contraband.
I must say that while there, if farmers may benefit in some way, Kami, by an increase in the local price of sugar, but who will pay the price is all of us, the consumers. And as I see it, this would only come because of the contraband situation. So while a handful or maybe 2 or 3 of the wholesale buyers of sugar from the mill who are maybe directly involved in the contraband, because of that, while they're filling their pockets, the local consumer must pay the cost of it by an increase in the local price of sugar. Okay. So I am not saying that I'm against the increase in the local price, but that increase should not come because of the contraband situation.
For Cabinet even to consider an increase in the price of sugar, numbers have been requested from the manufacturer.
We told the miller that for even the Ministry of Agriculture to make any proposal to Cabinet, there is a long way still yet to go in terms of data. For example, if we're calling for an increase in the price of sugar, one of the questions we made to the miller, what is the cost for the miller? What is the cost to produce 1 pound of sugar? That information they could not come up readily with. So they compromised that they will work their numbers and provide us that information. The next thing is Mexico has the highest price of sugar right now, or the second highest in the world. But that comes as a result of the supply and demand situation that they're facing because of their drop in production. So the question is, if there would be a consideration to increase the price of our local sugar, by how much should it be increased? We cannot increase it to get it close to the Mexican price, because we would be putting a heavy burden on our local consumers. The big question is, what is the gap? What is the real price that Mexico should have if they would have a better production situation? It may not be that high, that price that they have right now of like $1.56 per pound, but let's say it might be like $1. So how far we should take our local price to discourage the contraband of our sugar?
With a long list of wholesalers, BSI ESR, who is the only seller of local sugar, should set certain regulations in place, since this could lead to a reduction in the illicit cross-border sugar trade, says Osorio.
It is difficult for you to be able to monitor. I recall in 2011 or so, when we faced this same type of situation, one of the things that were introduced is that for every wholesaler, if you buy from the mill 100 bags of sugar, when you come back to buy another 100 bags, you need to bring the list of businesses to whom you sold the sugar. If you could not produce that, then you are not entitled to another sale. And I believe that is something that should have been instituted from last year. I had called on it last year. Nothing was done, and I believe we are still on time to institute this mechanism. And then like that, I think, I'm not saying that we will eliminate the contraband, but we may be able to take a good control of it, especially if those that are involved are unable then to get another batch of sugar if they're unable to produce, and that there is some sort of verification that they did sell 5 bags and 10 bags to the different businesses. There must be a verification process if we are serious about controlling it. But if what we really want is to increase the price of sugar, then we may not see any controls be put in place.
Right.
So
Now,
that the reality would be that not August we would see a shortage anymore, but we would see, actually we're seeing it already, and we might even run out of local sugar. Could be July, even before the crop finish, you know. So, and then what would be the solution? To venture into importing and selling at a much higher price to our local consumer.
Another option that is being looked is the introduction of packaged sugar to the local market.
Part of the discussion was packaged sugar and do not have a controlled price on it, where then the retailer would have the flexibility of putting the price, putting his price, which we think would eventually discourage the contraband because of the price, the acquisition price on the retail outlets, which also we said then the industrial sugar, which is the by the 50-pound bag and the 100-pound bag, would have a controlled price.
Of note is that the last adjustment in prices for brown sugar was 23 years ago, and in the case of white sugar, an increase was granted 9 years ago. We must also make mention that in a release issued yesterday, BSI stated, and we quote, "As a result of these reports, BSI has written to all its direct customers to remind them that the sale of sugar for domestic consumption is intended solely for the Belize market, and if they are found to be facilitating the export or smuggling of sugar intended for the Belize market, BSI reserves the right to cease sale of sugar to such customers immediately." End of quote. As sugar industry stakeholders contend with the ongoing sugar shortage here at home and work on ways to minimize the illegal contraband of our sugar, Prime Minister John Briceño has been licensed to have Belizean sugar exported to Mexico. Following a meeting in Mexico over the weekend, the PM Briceño reported that the Mexicans are currently working on removing current tariffs which are in place for Belizean sugar. The removal of those tariffs would significantly facilitate exportation of that commodity into Mexico, which is currently experiencing a shortage in their own sugar production. The idea of this coming to fruition, according to Chairman of the SICB, Marcos Osorio, would be exciting news for the Belizean sugar industry on a whole.
If the tariffs would be removed and we can get Mexico, the Mexican government, to allow Belize sugar to sell into Mexico, to export to Mexico, that would be the best situation that we can have coming. Why? When we think of the cost of shipping of our sugar, the local handling, and the shipping cost of our sugar is huge. Putting it to the border, I mean, we are the milk to the northern border is just 30 or 32 miles away. Mm-hmm. And when we look the milk to the Big Creek port or even the Belize port, it's much farther, which brings in a higher cost in transport or local handling. I believe that would result, could very well result a better situation for our industry and would result in a better situation for our cane farmers, right, in terms of the price of per ton cane paid to farmers. I believe I would certainly, as the chairman of the Sugar Industry Control Board, I would really want to see that come to fruition.
With its massive population of over 100 million, Osorio says the Mexican market would easily absorb the entirety of Belizean-made sugar, which would be for the benefit of the entire industry.
The entire industry in Belize, remember, sugar is a commodity marketed under the Belize trade, the country trade. It's Belize sugar. I believe our production, we are producing in the north for export about 100,000 tons of sugar. Santander is producing about 50, 60,000 tons of sugar. That is nothing to the shortage in production that Mexico is experiencing. I believe Mexico can or would be able to take all our production coming, and all we need to do is to ensure that we have the volumes required for our local market, which is no more than 15,000 tons, and everything else I believe Mexico can take from us. Mexico had a further drop in their sugar production for this year. So the gap in terms of filling their national production is tenfold, 20-fold from what Belize is producing.
For several weeks, the entire country has been experiencing an energy crisis which has plunged Belizeans into darkness in numerous occasions as BEL has had to load shed to ensure stability within the national grid. Load shedding, as described by BEL, has become a necessity on various occasions as the Comisión Federal de Electricidad in Mexico, which provides Belize with power, has been experiencing challenges of its own and having to curtail supply to outside customers. Happening simultaneously, BEL has also been experiencing technical issues with its power supply to San Pedro and Burgess Key. Earlier this month, those issues plunged the island into a 14-hour blackout. This affects business in relation to tourism, and today, Minister Andrew Perez, who is now back in cabinet, spoke on the issue and what implications it has had on the island of Ambergris Key, since Key Cocker is not affected because it has its own generators.
Complaining is just a very soft word to do it, but people were very upset. Not only tourists, but the businesses, restaurants, hotels. We can't speak for Key Cocker because the irony behind this is that we're trying to hook up Key Cocker to the national grid. But until now, Key Cocker is the only community that holds their own generation, the generators to hold up. So they don't have that problem with power failures these days. So everything that's occurring in the country, Key Cocker is very much safe. So if you want to go on vacation, you're safe that you won't have any problem with power going to Key Cocker. But certainly, San Pedro and Burgess Key is hooked up to the grid. The load shedding has been terrible. And I think in one case, a couple of weeks ago, we had 14 hours non-stop that we went. It was brutal. And actually, many things happened. Not only the tourism, the loss of tourism, but many people getting sick. Salmonella is all around right now, food contamination. So we have taken our fair share. So we are saying that we do have right now, we're in the middle of a crisis with energy. But as the news is that our Prime Minister is out there aggressively pursuing this matter and going to Mexico, meeting with the president and meeting with the members of the high people in IFE, not IFE, sorry, it's the Comisión Federal de Electricidad, CFE. So this is really much more a result of a country that is booming, the economy is growing, and I will say it, and I won't mince my words, this is a result of a company that supplies electricity that is trying to play catch-up in terms of infrastructure. A big part of this is that the Belize Electricity Limited has not done their part in terms of infrastructure. But we have to deal with it. So we're working along with them.
The current submarine cable connecting the island with the national grid on mainland Belize is deteriorating and presently has a capacity of 17 megawatts. BEL has maintained that this is not enough to sustain the growing island and is presently working on installing another in order to alleviate a crisis from happening on Belize's tourism central. Coming up next, power outages spell huge losses for Bowen and Bowen. Stay tuned.
Mi nombre es Mercedes García, me dedico a artesanías de bayal. Yo tengo, creo que más de 20 años de ser miembro. Quería poner este negocio y le dije pues fui allá y le dije al gerente, por favor, necesito unas máquinas. ¿Y qué necesitas? Pues dime cuánto. No tenía casa, no tenía nada. Ahorita tengo casa, hasta carro tengo. Lo que me gusta ahí en Credit Junior que uno llega y puede ver bastante fila, pero rápido. Los que trabajan ahí, los trabajadores son rápidos. Y acá pues me ayudaron hasta para hacer esto. Estas paredes así me ayudaron a hacerlo porque me dieron el préstamo. Entonces, aunque yo no lo puedo hacer, pero pago para que me lo hagan y eso, pues, gracias a Credit Union.
Do you want quick cash for your gold? Then take advantage of Monica's Pawn Shop's big loans on gold and our guaranteed low rate of only 10% on all pawn jewelry. But it doesn't stop there. We also pawn TVs, buy scrap gold, and pawn vehicles that you can still drive. Visit Monica's Pawn Shop today in our Belize City location at number 128 Cemetery Road, our Belmopan location at number 5 Garden Plaza, our Orange Walk location, number 2 Belize Corazal Road. Give us a call at 207-0970 and get more money for your gold jewelry.
For the past weeks, we have been reporting on the widespread power outages plaguing Belize. The abrupt and prolonged outages have raised concerns about the stability of the country's electricity grid and has prompted urgent calls for action. Those calls have been answered by the electricity company itself and by government, prompting a meeting between Prime Minister John Briceño, the President of Mexico, Manuel López Obrador, and the lead of the Comisión Federal de Electricidad, who supply us with energy at a certain cost. While discussions are underway on how to reduce the power outages, the country is also facing a shortage of soft drink and alcoholic beverages produced by Bowen & Bowen. Customers have taken to social media to complain that they are unable to access their favorite Bowen & Bowen drinks at their nearest store. Bearing that in mind, yesterday Bowen & Bowen sent out a release informing consumers what has led to the current situation. And it all has to do with the power outages, says the company's corporate relations manager, Rosana Villanueva.
But firstly, I think that some of the products that we've been seeing people saying they are not available. They are available in different packaging. So, for example, soda water, tonic water, those are available in cans right now. So we do have those in the market in cans, just not in glass bottles. But beyond that, I think it's important that we clarify that we are having issues with power at our production facility. To let the public, our customers, our consumers be aware of the situation. It has impacted on our production and, of course, the larger customers, and for them to be able to meet the power demand in the country. At times, they have asked us to come off the grid. And what that means for us is that our production facility is then running solely on generators. Of running all our production lines all at the same time. So when that happens, we do have to make a choice of what products will be used. And yes, so that is going to affect availability for the short term until the We've also had a couple of instances where we have planned maintenance. Our machinery, like any other machinery, needs to be maintained regularly. So we have planned maintenances when the lines would be down, and we're doing work on the machines. And if we have a line down for maintenance and then we can't run it because of power supply issues, the problem. So those have been impacting on our availability of products for our consumers or our customers to be understanding and patient with us while we all get through this. We realize it's not just Bowen & Bowen managing the power issue, but it's the entire country. And we are in constant communication, so they do keep us up to date on what's going on. And wherever possible, as much as possible, we work along with them. When they ask us to come off the grid, we do it because we realize that they have services and households that need electricity as well. So yes, that has definitely been impacting on our production.
And as BL seeks to address the impacts of electricity shortages, Bowen & Bowen is already looking at various means and ways to catch up with production to avoid additional losses.
So we do have another backup generator that we are working to bring online, and that's going to help us a great deal as well. So, and the production line maintenance that we have planned or scheduled should be completed in the next couple of weeks. So that as well will be a help for us. But we do have a backup generator that we need to bring online. That is going to help us a great deal. But yes, it's going to continue being an issue for the next couple of weeks at least.
And while the company is candid in working with the utility company so that households can have electricity across the country, it also spells out loss for Bowen & Bowen. So how do you generate that loss again?
Okay, well, that is something that we'll be able to assess when we get through it. We'll have to do an assessment to see what the downtime, or the shortage in products, what the cost of that is to us.
As we told you at the top of the newscast, the country of Belize is also facing a sugar shortage currently. Grocers around the country either don't have sugar on the shelf, and in the case that they do, the product is rationed to customers. Apart from consumers, the rationing of sugar at the stores is also affecting business production-wise. Luckily for Bowen & Bowen, they are not on that list as yet.
Right. So far, no, it has not been an issue for us. So that as well is something that, we would manage as it comes up. But for now, no, we're not having an issue as yet.
The National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, has issued a statement condemning violence against women and calling for an immediate investigation and action after a video showing an immigration officer attacking a woman at the western border surfaced over social media. The National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, is outraged and appalled by the recent incident of violence against a woman by a senior immigration officer at the western border. The NTUCB strongly condemns all forms of violence against women and urges all frontline public officers to exercise professionalism and restraint when delivering service to the public, NTUCB noted. The NTUCB further called on the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform, and Religious Affairs to conduct an immediate investigation into the incident and take swift action against the offending officer. The NTUCB is also urging the ministry to identify training needs to bridge obvious existing gaps and make urgent moves to strengthen the professional delivery of public service. It is unacceptable that a public officer entrusted with the responsibility of serving the public can resort to violence against a woman. We demand that the ministry takes immediate action to address this incident and ensure that it does not happen again in the future, the NTUCB added. In addition, the NTUCB called for the full extent of the public service regulation to be applied on the offending officer after the investigation has been concluded. We also call for a modernized public service regulations to best incorporate C-190 to address violence and harassment in the workplace, it added. The NTUCB reaffirmed its commitment to stand up against all forms of violence against women and pledged to work tirelessly to ensure that all workers and members of the public, including women, are treated with dignity and respect. The immigration officer has been identified as 48-year-old Saul Enrique Lisby. He was charged with wounding following the incident, which occurred as Teresa Jones was re-entering Belize from Guatemala. According to reports, a verbal altercation ensued between Jones and Lisby after Jones expressed frustration with the pace of the immigration line. Lisby, who has been with the department for 13 years, reportedly exited his boot, approached Jones, and pushed her to the ground, causing her to lose consciousness. She was later taken to the hospital for medical treatment. The Immigration Department immediately launched an investigation and, as per public service regulations, placed Lisby on administrative leave. He has also been placed on interdiction. The Northern Regional Hospital here in Orange Walk Town will soon be equipped with a state-of-the-art pediatric wing as part of a collaboration between the Ministry of Health and Wellness, LEAP Global Missions, and Rotary Orange Walk. With over $400,000 of funding secured through LEAP Global Missions, the Ministry of Health and Rotary Orange Walk signed a memorandum of understanding on Monday for the construction of the pediatric wing. The signing of this MOU, according to President of Rotary Orange Walk, Javier Moreno, marks a significant milestone which started several years ago.
Well, I am happy to share that on Monday morning, we finally were able to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And this MOU is between the Ministry of Health, LEAP, and the Rotary Club of Orange Walk. Now, LEAP is an organization in Dallas, Texas, and it is a Life Enhancement Association for People. And it's been some 28 to 29 years that they have been coming to our country, primarily in Orange Walk, where they have come to carry out surgeries for cleft lip, cleft palate, eye surgeries, even scar tissue removal, burn tissue. And most recently, they have added treatment for skin cancer. And I must say that LEAP has fallen in love with our beautiful Belize, so much so that about 2 years now, they proposed that they would like to donate for the construction of a pediatric wing at the Northern Regional Hospital. And finally, last year, they apportioned the sum of $430,000 Belize dollars that would be put towards the construction of this pediatric wing. It was proposed to the Ministry of Health, and they readily jumped at the idea. They did their research. They had to go through different sanctions, and finally they agreed that yes, they will accept the donation and they will put the necessary funds to be able to construct this pediatric wing, which is approximately to the tune of $1.2 million.
The installation of a pediatric wing at the NRH has been the goal for several years, and now that it is finally coming to light, it will significantly benefit healthcare in the north of our country.
When LEAP, they are now known as LEAP Global Missions, because they travel around the world doing these missions to help, alleviate health. So when LEAP came with that idea, we were overjoyed, because one of our areas of focus as Rotarians and as Rotary International is that of health. Is that I'm focusing primarily on saving mothers and children, because research has shown that every year, close to 6 million children under the age of 5 die. Why? Because they don't have access to proper sanitation, the health system, the infrastructure, the medication. So having a pediatric wing will be able to address health at the foundational level, where the children, they will be given an opportunity to have a life, because they will have the care, they will have the infrastructure in place, that they are able to be treated to ensure that their life continues beyond that of infancy. So certainly that is, for us, that's something great. And to consider it's done here in Orange Walk in the north, which is is the hub of the sugar belt, no? And the Northern Regional Hospital not only is in service of the Orange Walk community, but also of Corozal and other neighboring communities, no? So indeed, we believe that it will be impactful. It will be something that will certainly bolster our health system here in the north.
As the local agency overseeing the realization of this significant project, Moreno says the Rotary Club of Orange Walk is currently on the ground, ensuring that construction can begin as soon as possible.
Well, because we have had this partnership with the LEAP organization, they have chosen for us to be the intermediary, considering that we are the local group, the local organization. So we represent them, and we'll be able to ensure that the funds are disbursed to the Ministry of Health when we launch this project. So at this juncture, we are completing the architectural design so that we are able to present this to the Ministry of Health. And once they are able to agree that this design is what will work, then we just await that there could be that awaited groundbreaking ceremony. Well, as a partner now with the Ministry of Health, we will be in consultation with them in every step of the way. The signed agreement ensures that all parties involved will be kept abreast as to the development of the project. Therefore, if we see that something is stalling or something is not as per the agreement, then we can always come back to the table and look at it. But certainly, I must say that all parties involved, meaning the Ministry of Health and Wellness, LEAP Global Missions, and the Rotary, they are all looking and anticipating that this project will be launched soon and seen to fruition in the very near future.
The construction of the pediatric wing will come at a cost of over $1 million, which is being co-funded by LEAP Global Missions and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
At STEAM Academy is a 4-year government high school that does focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, which is called STEAM.
Before this, I've been to other high schools and private schools, and just being here feels so much more different. But my experience with STEAM in a whole, I love it.
It's at STEAM Academy. We are inclusive.
Females in robotics, I think that we could have a lot of success.
This has been the best experience school life I've ever had. It brings out your creative and innovative side in almost all subjects. In fact, in all subjects.
My experience at STEAM Academy is stunning.
Our students will, I hope, tell you that they are happy to be here, because from the moment they set foot in the campus in the morning to the moment they leave, they're engaged in interesting activities which have real meaning to their lives. And by doing this, the learning is much deeper, more effective, and long-lasting.
It's another Mr. Fall promotion at Pediatric Village Council presents Buffalo. It's all happening on Saturday, May 18th at the New River Park, Greengrass Village. Everybody come, let's Buffalo. Live performance by the General himself, Super G. The General performing live. May 18th, New River Park, Greengrass Village. Music juggling by DJ Dickus and DJ Virgo. Get your ticket, pre-sale. Tickets $20 and hear more at the door. And without the net, you better come Greengrass Village, because you can't afford to miss this big Punta Rap competition and lots of giveaways. Mr. Fall Promotion and Greengrass Village Council, Buffalo. Sponsored by Express Plus Streaming Entertainment, Rum of Belize Trademark, Mr. Fall Promotion and Rum Berry.
One day, we decided to gather everyone who loves The Last of Us in one place. The naked and afraid fans, and well, everyone who loves realities. The ones who don't like spoilers, and the ones who do. And those who love Barbie, and Peppa Pig, That place is called Max. Well, it's not an actual place. It's on your screens, and there's room for everyone. Max is here to bring you more of the stories that you love. Max, the one to watch.
My name is Stacey Badillo. This is my sister Gina Badillo, and we've been owners of this business for the past 19 years. It is called Purple Passion Studio and Spa, and we're located in Kikaker, Belize. I've been part of the credit union for 12 years, and Gina
for 19 years.
Professionally, it's allowed us for our business to grow, and our careers has grown as well.
We have had great customer service at Credit Union.
They're exceptional.
Yes.
For this small island, it's very important, but for our small business, it's even more important. It has changed our lives, the lives of our children, of our families.
I highly recommend St. Francis Credit Union to my children, to my family, to my clients, to everyone that is around me, that it's always the number one.
The following is a message from the Central Bank of Belize. The Central Bank of Belize reminds the public that, in accordance with the Domestic Banks and Financial Institutions Act, International Banking Act, Credit Unions Act, Moneylenders Act, and National Payment System Act, persons are prohibited from carrying out certain financial activities without the requisite license or registration. The public is reminded that it is illegal for an unlicensed or unregistered bank, credit union, money lender, including pawnbroker, payment service provider such as remittance service provider or e-wallet provider, or payment system operator to conduct or engage in financial transactions in or from within Belize. Any person who conducts any of the above listed services without holding a valid license or registration from the central bank commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to penalties under the relevant law. The central bank, as industry regulator, remains committed to effective oversight of the financial system in service to the Belizean public and business community. If a member of the public encounters any such unlicensed or unregistered activities or operations, please make a report to Central Bank of Belize. Telephone number 223-6164. You can also email us at communications@centralbank.org.bz or the Belize Police Department Major Crimes Unit. Telephone number 822-2222. You can also email at hncib@yahoo.com.
Sixteen Catholic schools from across the Orange Walk district today converge at the San Francisco School compound here in Orange Walk town for the very first Catholic School Open Day. The event sought to highlight the work of Catholic schools as our country moves towards a competency-based curriculum. Today's event saw presentations by each of the 16 schools. Each school also put together a display to showcase their work throughout the year to all visitors.
Today's Open Day showcases the strengths of all Catholic schools, the hard work of the teachers and the children. We have been in a changing competency-based curriculum, and so we want to showcase all that we have been doing via competency-based. And so a day like today, we showcase all that we have done, and we don't only do that, but we also identify what other schools are doing within our own management. And so today, that is what every stall has, a presentation of the work that we have been putting into competency base.
Apart from sharing information, participating schools also had the opportunity of exposing their commonalities as well as differences.
But the willingness of each school and the want of each principal and teachers has brought this to life. Also, the cooperation and participation of our parents has been a strong support to all our schools. Bringing this group together also unites us as a management. This is the way we can interact with each other. We often never get to see each other because we're always at work and at our own environments. Today we come to see what all environments can be brought to the forefront. And so we're definitely here to appreciate our differences and also the strengths of every school. We can also identify smaller schools compared to larger schools and understand their struggles as well. So I think it's more of a uniting our schools together when projects like this come to light. Well, competency-based for La Immaculada has been embraced from the very start. I think we have managed to understand the concept, and I think our children are also learning through competency-based and using the concepts of them teaching themselves, them exploring, they're trying to learn through discovery. So there's so many things that the teachers are bringing to the forefront for children. It's a new experience for teachers as well. It's time consuming, I can tell you that. But I think that at the end of the day, the children are learning much more. And more so, they're becoming more independent and more outspoken. And this is what we need. Children that can in the future become productive citizens and are not afraid to venture out into new things.
As the first ever of its kind, the president of the Catholic Principals Association, Lenny Umania, says the hope is to forge a lasting camaraderie between Catholic institutions as they strive to accomplish the same goals towards better education.
Right now, all schools, what we're trying to do, we're trying to learn from each other. I know that in each tent there is some unique thing that we don't know about, and so we are learning from these things. Also, the interaction with our peers and with other colleagues from across the management is definitely adding to understanding how we work. And I think bringing us together is giving us the hope that we will be able to unite our forces to get over this competency base and bring a true understanding and meaning to it within our classrooms. So the support from each other within our management is a great support. And I'm very thankful that this morning we had the Ministry of Education here with us. We were blessed with the presence of Ms. Alvarez, and we were also here visited by Pat Light. So we have seen that our community, our education community, has taken interest, and that is very important to us as well.
Today's event concluded shortly before 1 p.m. The president and vice president of the newly recreated Orange Walk Lions Club today sat on the couch of the Despierta Belize. Both women came in to make it known that the club is being reassembled and the plan is to serve the community. In fact, a number of projects have already been identified, but before the actual work commences, the 20 members of the group will be installed this coming Saturday.
Actualmente la Fundación Internacional de Club de Leones está en una misión de crecimiento del club, de incrementar el número de clubs e incrementar el número de miembros. Entonces, doctor Sol Yam, que es el coordinador de área de Belice y Haití del LCIF, del Lions Club International Foundation, pues está en su estrategia de incrementar miembros y clubs y nos invitó gentilmente a mi persona a tratar de empujar la iniciativa porque pues nuestro Orange Walk necesita su club de leones. Como bien dice la doctora, ha sido un poco difícil, bastante tiempo y mucho trabajo. Gracias a Dios hemos conseguido 21 miembros con muy buena voluntad de que hagamos poquito a poco algo por nuestra comunidad. Entonces, como bien explicó doctora, pues vamos a iniciar las operaciones de proyectos de nuestro club, empezando con la ceremonia de instalación oficial. Ya tenemos nuestra carta constitutiva emitida por la Fundación Internacional. Ya existimos, pero esto es un proceso, ¿verdad? Desde el 26 de enero se aprobó la carta y pues el día sábado es la ceremonia de instalación oficial en Moffels Auditorium a las 7 de la noche.
The club's areas of focus, according to its vice president, Dr. Leslie Perez, will range from eye care, diabetes, and even the environment, among others.
Lo bonito de esto, Cami, es de que ahorita contamos con 21 miembros, ¿verdad? Entonces nosotros nos dividimos tareas. Para que cada 4 miembros, por ejemplo, vamos a ir a hacer programas para tratar de disminuir el hambre, para tratar de educar a nuestra gente, qué puede suplementar, por ejemplo, el azúcar, ¿verdad? Crear programas educativos. Otro grupo se va a encargar de crear programas para jóvenes. Ahorita estamos en la creación de fondos, diría yo. Lo bonito con este tipo de grupos, de asociaciones, es que, por ejemplo, nosotros somos babies, estamos empezando, vienen los que ya son los veteranos, entonces nos ayudan, nos asisten. Si nosotros en Orange Oak tenemos un desastre, inundación, etcétera, y no tenemos fondos aún, pero ya tenemos un grupo, podemos llamar a Nicaragua, a El Salvador, a Guatemala, y nos vienen a echar la mano. Entonces, ahorita para qué estamos aquí es para presentarnos y para invitarlos que nos acompañen a nuestra presentación, a nuestra introducción en la comunidad, y que sepan, pues, ¿verdad?, que ya existimos, y que entre más ayuda tengamos, pues mejor. Pero vamos a empezar, por ejemplo, a mí me interesa mucho participar en la juventud y en programas de hambre, de educación en salud. La doctora es especialista en diabetes, ¿me entiendes? Entonces nos vamos a dividir para empezar nos vas a ver por ahí plantando árboles, etcétera, etcétera. Primero Dios.
Exacto. Those wishing to support the Orange Walk Lions Club are reminded that an entrance fee of $30 is being charged on Saturday. Proceeds garnered will be used to kickstart some of the work the club is interested in executing. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, May 16th here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read the text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.